Well, we're going to talk about democracy now, and new data shows that the United Kingdom is one of the world's most highly regarded democratic countries. But of late, there has been concern that faith in democracy has been going down. Well, we're going to speak now to Tryl, who represents More in Common UK and has been surveying this. And if we could ask you first of all, Mr. Tryl, has the public in this country started to lose faith in the principle of democracy?
Well, the good news that this report shows is that when it comes to democratic principles, the UK public are wholly committed. 9 in 10 think that democracy is the best way to govern the country. The vast majority think that the UK is a genuine democracy. But there's a disconnect between Britain's belief in democracy in principle and how they're seeing it played out in practice. Unfortunately, 84% of the public told us that they don't think that politicians care about what people like them think, and 2/3 think that our political system is rigged in favour of the rich and powerful.
Can I ask you, did they volunteer that, or was that the nature of the questions which you asked in this survey?
So we asked that in a polling question, and people were able to choose from a number of options, but we also ran a series of focus groups around the country where we could hear a bit more about what was driving those feelings of disenchantment. And there were two key things which really jumped out. The first was a feeling that actually there's one rule for politicians and one rule for us, and one thing which really came out of those discussions was a sense that when politicians broke the rules, they weren't punished. As you will know, very few political stories actually penetrate into the public consciousness, but those stories of politicians or their advisors breaking lockdown rules and then not seeming to suffer any punishment really riled lots of the public there. So that was one of the things. And then the other thing was the sense that what has democracy done for me? There are lots of people who talked about their area, their local town had been in decline for very many years, and it didn't seem like Westminster was delivering for them. And that's not just bad in of itself, it also makes people much more likely to turn towards authoritarian, populist alternatives. You only have to look at what happened on January the 6th in the US to see what happens when a significant minority start to feel that politics and the democratic system isn't working for them.
So what are the countermeasures which you think need to be taken to shore up democracy in this country?
Yeah. So I think there are three key measures that would benefit our democratic system. The first is having proper accountability, showing that when politicians break the rules, there are consequences to them, just like there are for everyone else. The second one, we think, is better political education, making sure that schools actually teach people about our democratic structures and encourage people to be more tolerant of those of different views. We found that young people in particular were more likely to say that they thought that those who disagreed with them were just wrong on the facts. And 45% of young people who we surveyed told us that they were sometimes scared of people who had opposing views. So we think there's a real role for schools there.